Alright, so this is Dead Space, everything you need to know.
Dead Space was heralded as a fantastic game by critics and survival horror game fans alike, and a game that would properly iterate on Resident Evil 4's new action-oriented survival horror with a focus on shooting enemy limbs and small confined areas within the USG Ishimura, a planet-cracking spaceship. And yet, after 2 fantastic games, Dead Space 3 was released in 2013 to lackluster reviews, and essentially killed the series.
Yeah, it was a flop.
But 10 long years later, Dead Space is finally seeing life once again through a remake. But what type of remake will this be? Is it going to pretty much be a one-for-one remake a la Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy? Or are we looking at something that will completely reinvent the game a la Resident Evil 2? Well, here is everything we know so far about the Dead Space remake. A la me.
Let's go. I'm excited. It comes out today, actually.
It was announced back on July 1st, 2021, that Dead Space was undergoing a remake, probably thanks in part to the success of Capcom's RE2 and RE3 remakes, as well as EA's very own Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
I was about to say
the game is being developed by Motiv Studios and published by EA. While the announcement trailer that would later release that month was gamers' first chance to see Dead Space in the works, the trailer actually did more than that. According to creative director Roman Campos Oriola, the trailer served as an atmospheric benchmark for the team and something they could use as a reference to try and hit for the entire game. In order to create its tense atmosphere with updated visuals, EA is utilizing their very own Frostbite engine. Frostbite engine was used on various EA Star Wars games, including Star Wars Squadrons, also developed by Motiv Studios, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Other games to use the engine include Anthem, FIFA 23, and Battlefield 2042. So far, Motiv Studios has only co-developed on Star Wars Battlefront 2 and developed Star Wars Squadrons,
bringing out the big guns. I respect it.
It'll be interesting to see how the studio handles Dead Space. The graphics of the game are getting a major overhaul. Another noticeable change is in the faces of the various characters. From Nicole getting far more detail to Isaac looking younger, less gruff, and
you can actually see her face
different. This has actually been a slow evolution, though, from Dead Space 1. In the first game, there was a different face model for Isaac. Then in Dead Spaces 2 and 3, that face model was combined with elements of Isaac's voice actor, Gunnar Wright, and now for the remake, the face model is fully him.
Oh, so that means he's gonna be voice acting.
The gameplay in Dead Space remains fairly faithful to the original game. That means that it's still a survival horror game with over-the-shoulder combat. You'll collect various weapons that each have unique strengths and weaknesses for taking out the enemy necromorphs, and you'll still be able to upgrade these weapons as you progress through the game. Additionally, the map is mostly faithful to the original game, with chapters and progression being similar. However, while the overall map is similar, it's also been overhauled. You'll no longer be locked off from accessing former areas of the game and map once heading into a new chapter. Instead, you'll now be able to backtrack whenever you want and find new routes. Part of what this means is that instead of taking a tram from one section of the ship to another, like in the original Dead Space, brand new areas were added to the game, with Isaac needing to physically traverse to get from the end of a chapter to the starting point of the next one. And this isn't always going to be inside of the ship. Sometimes this will result in Isaac taking a spacewalk on the whole of the Ishimura to get around to the start of a new section. And speaking of the spacewalk, while Dead Space 1 has Isaac clinging to the sides of the ship and then propelling off to a destination you choose, the remake has altered the zero-gravity system to reflect how the mechanic worked in Dead Spaces 2 and 3, and changed up these sections from the original game to better fit the ability to move around wherever you want. That said, while Isaac doesn't take a tram to the start of a new section, trams weren't entirely removed. Instead, once reaching a new section, activate the tram there and quickly return to previously unlocked tram stations, so there will still be an element of fast travel. Additionally, while some of the rooms may seem similar to what players saw in the original game, the locations of various objects and enemies have moved around. Whether that be a vent with a necromorph in it waiting to jump out at you, certain hallways and doorways, or even the location of various pickups like health ammo and guns. In fact, early on in the game, a character who originally gives Isaac a kinesis model for grappling various objects now instead gives him a pulse rifle, a terrible gun for cutting off limbs, but what you gonna do? You'll also find doors and lockers with a number on them, and can't open them until you get that level of security clearance. As far as we can tell, gaining new levels seems to be story-related, so perhaps this will be an added incentive for backtracking. According to Campos Oriola, in creating the remake, the team referenced assets from the original game they had full access to, as opposed to just what would come out in the final release, and were able to find various corridors created in different ways that were likely changed at the time due to technical constraints, and very well could be something this new team are restoring and bringing to life for the remake.
Okay.
Yet another new element to the Dead Space remake are added side quests. In the
Oh, no, my
preview we
bad,
were able
sorry.
to play, Chapter 2 included a new side quest to try and find Nicole, which the team has tried to make sure the player knows and feels is a major reason Isaac is on the mission in the first place. This side quest led to several new hologram recordings of Nicole. Another aspect worth bringing up, I'm sure many Dead Space fans will be dreading is microtransactions.
Oh my God.
While Dead Space 1 and 2 were free of these, they were extremely prevalent in Dead Space 3 and considered by many to be a major detriment to the game as a whole, to the point where the gameplay suffered thanks to them. And fortunately, at least as of
long
right
as
now,
we don't need the microtransactions,
there are no
and it's really
microtransactions in the Dead
optional?
Space remake, so
Wait, what?
yes, you can breathe in a sigh of relief, I think.
Thank God.
Well, the story of Dead Space
so
remains
there's not gonna be
relatively
any
intact for Dead Space
microtransactions in the
remake.
remake? Okay, cool.
Isaac's girlfriend Nicole is aboard the USG Ishimura on a mining expedition when things go horribly wrong, and Isaac, along with the small crew, pick up the distress signal and attempt to repair the ship and rescue any survivors, along with Isaac's girlfriend, before realizing the ship is infested with horrifying necromorphs. There are definitely changes.
Bro, why did that
However,
scare
to
me?
what extent, we still aren't sure. Dialogue in the game and various audio logs Isaac will be able to find to help fill in the backstory of what happened aboard the ship to lead to its disaster have been completely rewritten. Whether this is just flavor to try and make the dialogue more realistic and or more interesting, or something that will lead to major plot changes is something that we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
Christ, still can't believe the chief is gone. It's all fallen apart since the captain died.
The Dead Space remake will keep the original score from the first game, written by Jason Graves,
Okay, that's
while
fire.
also adding on new music composed by Trevor Gurix. Meanwhile, Isaac Clarke will once again be voice acted by Gunnar Wright. And while he was a silent protagonist in Dead Space 1, the remake will instead more closely resemble Dead Spaces 2 and 3, where Isaac was far more vocal. In part, this is to fix the issue of Isaac being a silent protagonist, despite being extremely qualified to deal with engineering failures of a massive ship, considering he's the engineer assigned to help with the situation.
He got the team on the back, bro. This man literally is a one-man army. He has a team on his back, bro.
But you'll need to stabilize our orbit from
Man's
there.
the only man
While Isaac will be
qualified
more
to save us
talkative,
all,
that
bro.
doesn't mean he's going to be constantly yammering away. More so that he'll pitch advice when spoken to and offer potential solutions.
Okay.
The Dead Space remake is set to release on January 27, 2023
today,
to
bro?
PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC. Are you going to be picking up the Dead Space remake? And
Are you guys
so,
gonna be picking
what
up
new
the
features
Dead
has
Space
you
remake,
the
bro?
most
Comment down
excited?
below.
Let us know in the comments below and join the Church of Unitology today.
Knock on wood.
Make us whole again.
I think that's it.